You got water all up in here.
That's what happens when you're a man.
As we have talked about on numerous occasions, right? You just...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the intro. Sorry, just fuck it.
What you want, what you want.
I don't know how we're supposed to follow the 2 awesome episodes we just had with Natasha.
I don't know. She's not here now, and people are going to be mad.
I know, and I'm afraid they're just going to be left with us.
We're going to try this at least one time
just
without her.
Dudes,
we'll bring
and
her
that's
back.
DEWDZ, dudes. So anyway, I know, yeah. So I'm getting on this thing. Okay, so just to recap what I've told in what I thought we were recording. I'm a little tipsy. It's fine.
She's a lot tipsy.
She had some to drink. Anyway, so I released a book at the beginning of this month called The Light at 229. And the premise of the book is that a boy and his mother are trying to survive in a landscape where they believe that the rapture happened 9 years ago. They don't believe it, but that's what the news has led them to believe. And there was supposed to be this pilgrimage to a place called Rapture Rock, where all of the believers were supposed to be saved and put up into heaven, all these things that we've been taught all of our lives, or they have, so to speak. But they've survived on their own for 9 years and nothing has really happened. And so the main character of the book believes in his heart that there was nothing ever really that was going to happen, but he also can't explain why there's nobody else besides him and his mother. And so the book is this conflict between disbelief in the religious things that have been passed down in our society. And then the other side of that is, well, I don't know how it is the way it is now. Why is there nobody but me and my mother? So the way I wanted this to segue into our discussion is talk to me a little bit about your journey as far as faith is concerned. Okay. Talk to me about like beliefs in general. Have you had supernatural experiences that have made you question your beliefs? Like, tell me a little bit about what Jeff Welch has experienced from childhood to now. Okay.
Well, I'll start with, since you brought up the subject of the rapture, actually, I had the kind of childhood where in 1984 or 1985, I forget exactly when the book came out, this guy wrote a book about when Jesus was coming back.
Is this what we talked about on that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were sitting in the yard on a blanket waiting for now my dad was very much against the concept of because it does say in the Bible you won't know the day or the hour.
Right.
And so he was like, this guy definitely doesn't know.
Right.
But just in case.
Yeah. We're going to be ready.
We're going to sit on a blanket.
And just wait.
And wait. And as if Jesus couldn't have come and gotten me out of the fucking bathroom. Or, if I'm watching TV and the Lord comes, he can get me. Yeah. But we were waiting. And motherfucker ain't show up yet. It didn't happen. So, and then the guy actually rewrote his book the next year and sold more copies of the book and said he messed up some math and it was going to be
which
the next
is insane
year.
Yeah,
and people still bought it. We did not the next year fool me once. Shame on Jesus, fool me twice.
Shame on Jesus.
So we didn't do that twice,
right? So
that's the kind of
how old were you when that happened? Do you remember?
84, 85. I'd have been like 8 or 9, somewhere around in that
as
area.
An 8 or 9, you're still in that age where you're so impressionable,
and you believe shit that you shouldn't believe. That we tell our kids things, and it's all right. Like I wasn't raised in the kind of we weren't allowed to believe in like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and shit.
Right.
But then we did sit in the yard waiting for Magic Sky Daddy to come get us. I don't.
It's cognitive dissonance.
I try not to. And as we deal with this discussion, I have been on every conceivable side of belief and non-belief. Yeah. And I'm able to be really respectful of people who do believe to a certain extent. So I don't want to give off the impression that like I'm smarter than people who believe in Jesus. I said that was some not nice things I said about your Sky Daddy, and I apologize. And when I'm talking like that, I'm not talking about what other people believe. I'm kind of looking specifically at my past.
Yeah.
I was raised very, very, like we talked about before, I was homeschooled for religious reasons. Predictably, I got into my teenage years and rebelled viciously. For whatever reason, when I early 20s, I got married, started having kids. It just kind of felt like the thing you do. You get married, you have kids, you go to church. Right. And
it's sort of like your role on the earth.
And it wasn't like I was a passive believer though during that time. I taught Sunday school. I recorded 2 Christian hip hop albums. I ran a Christian apologetics website trying to convince people who didn't believe in Jesus to believe in Jesus based on scientific evidence or whatnot. So I've been hardcore on that side of it. Right. At a certain point when it fell apart for me, and we can talk to that because you're talking about the supernatural. I'm trying to work it in that way. My little crisis of faith was during my divorce from my first marriage. The without getting into all the circumstances of that, it was a situation that just it wasn't going to work there at the end, and I was still trying to save it. And it put myself through a great deal of emotional and I'll even say spiritual torment. And there was one specific moment where I was like crying out to God for strength to do what I thought God wanted me to do, you know, based on what I knew about or thought I knew about the character of God. And I realized there wasn't any fucking help coming. Right. I realized that I was in fact alone. And even though that was a very real experience to me, I try not to expand that to mean, well, there's definitely not a God. Maybe there is. I know for a fucking fact he's just not that into me though. Because at the point where I needed... Like I wasn't the kind of Christian who thought God was my cosmic ATM. Like I wasn't praying for money all the time. I wouldn't even pray for healing, because that was the kind of Christianity I was raised in. So when I got back into it later, even though I was very devout, it was kind of a different breed of Christianity where I didn't treat God like he was just my magic thing to ask for stuff. Right. But when I really prior to that, my prayer, and I prayed a lot. I was a praying man, and my prayer was for God to make me a better man, for God to make me a more godly person. When I got to that point where I was like, I need some strength, and what I heard was crickets. Like I said, either he's not there, or he's there and he doesn't give a shit. Either way, the whole prior decade of my life just made me feel like a fucking idiot. So that's my experience with it, and that's with Christianity in particular. In terms of just spirituality, I don't even really refer to myself as an atheist or an agnostic. If we sat down and asked some really hard questions, I probably am an atheist. I like to refer to myself as unaffiliated. I know a lot of atheists who spend just as much time being really dogmatic about their atheism as Christians do or anybody else. That's not to me, the point of non-belief is that you don't have to give a fuck about what other people, as long as your beliefs don't encroach on me in any way. I don't care. Because from my point of view, we're all going to die and feed the same fucking worms, but I do leave myself open to some sort of spirituality. Part of it's out of a kind of a survival instinct. If I don't, my mind goes into full-blown nihilism instantly, like nothing's worth anything. If there's nothing else, all we're doing here is kind of surviving. It kind of sucks the value right out of what we think we're doing.
I will say I've started questioning years ago where I was with it, and it's on a similar vein as sexuality. I associate religion and sexuality together because they are so closely related in my life.
Religion always wants to tell you about your sexuality. It's impossible to.
But I think when I started questioning like my faith and my religion, because I grew up the same way, very, very much in church. Like I think we said on the Super Bowl episode that I sort of had a stepdad who wasn't very religious, but as soon as my mom sort of clued into the fact that he was an abusive asshole, right, the place that she turned us toward was church. Right. And so that happens a lot. That was the way that we healed from that. And I was like you, I became very active. I taught Sunday school from the time I was 16 all the way to the end. I taught Sunday school, or I sang in a touring band. And so what helped me was, like, I started having doubts a long time ago, but it wasn't until I sort of met someone who could help me put those doubts into words. And it was Jesse Wade, your cousin, who we became very close friends through the show we were working on together.
And we found each other.
Yes. And he would come to my house and we would just talk for hours. I mean, he would literally sit, and like 4 hours later, we'd still be having discussions about this stuff. And that was really where I sort of started to figure out, like, this is how I believe. And like you, it's like, I'm not necessarily like anti this or that. It's just this for me has been my experience and sort of where I fall on that spectrum. And it's not supposed to be disrespectful to other people.
No, and when I'm talking about anything, I come off as being disrespectful. Yeah, it's just I say fuck a lot, you know.
Yeah, while fucking.
I still do.
We'll flashback. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and like I said, though, I still don't. I've got somebody in my life now that is into more a different kind of spirituality. Yeah. And it's something like, there's something that, regardless of my past, there's something in me that does feel that kind of longing for something,
for some kind of connection.
Some kind of connection's a word I actually use a lot in terms of that. And I'll say stuff, and in my writing, I use the terminology a lot. Like, I'll say something about the universe, this or that. Yeah. And that's my kind of default. I don't even know what the fuck that means to me right now. That's kind of just me leaving the door open. Yeah. I haven't completely slammed the door on there being something kind of magical.
And to me,
there.
that's a more noble approach, because it's like, people can't say for certain that this is the thing, but by us saying like the universe or whatever, it's just sort of we can't explain, or we don't know what's out there, but this is what our conceptualization of that is, and how we sort of like, and to me, it's not as important to me to know whether there is or isn't something as it is to other people.
Not
you know
anymore,
what I mean?
There's not. Yeah. I think that used to be a big motivator for me. Like, now like, and when talking about, like, people will say, you know, don't you worry about what's going to happen when you die. Yeah. People dig holes every day. Somebody will fucking figure it out. Yeah. You know, I don't need to worry about what's going to happen when I die. All right. I need to worry. And this is something I'm big on with whether you're religious or not, no matter what you believe happens after this. This is the only one of these you got. Yeah. This is, and I feel like if you're a Christian believer or any, I suppose even a Muslim or whatever, if you believe your God put you here for one life, he did that for a reason. This fucking matters, apparently. Yeah. Make it count.
That's me, is because this is, even, let's say that you do believe in the afterlife. There's nothing, even in religious text, that says once you're in that afterlife, you have any choice about what happens. This is the only life where we have any agency to make things happen. You know what I mean? It's like, even in religious text, it's like, once we hit that afterlife, and that's sort of the thing that turned me off in the beginning, was that, okay, you're going to this beautiful place, and all you're ever going to do there is worship Jesus for the rest of forever, eternity. Right. To me, that does not sound appealing at all.
I don't have the kind. I wasn't born to bow down.
Right. Like,
that sounds really arrogant. I understand how that sounds to people with a different point of view. I just realized that in myself, and that to me applies to not just to religion, to things like patriotism, to things like hero worship, to
blind nationalism, along with the patriotism thing.
You know, they're very similar. Yeah. But I just wasn't born to go along with the crowd and do what I'm told. Right. And I do that, and you got to being someone like either one of us who's not a believer in this Christianity or this religion or that religion. I wrote something a long time ago, early on in my writing, was that I didn't leave the flock of believers to join another flock of unbelievers.
Absolutely.
You know, a flock is a flock. No matter, you know, if you're part of this clique, if you have to be part of any kind of sort of group thing on something, and that's why I talked about, I refer to myself as unaffiliated. I don't have the fucking time or energy to defend atheism. Right. That defeats the purpose to me. Like there's this.
If it's something you have to defend, then you're not any better off.
After spending years defending the faith in Christianity, it's this great burden that's just fallen off of not having to defend my point of view at all.
Right.
And I have people in my life that I love, like my daughters are still very religious, and I can talk to them about it. There's nothing in me that wants to rip that away from them. And as long as they're doing it right and maintain empathy. First of all, I mean, coming from my point of view, where ultimately I kind of don't believe in anything, that can feel really dark sometimes.
It can.
I prefer it over where I've been. Sometimes, you know, meaninglessness. It has its happy aspects and it's not so fucking happy aspects. If someone has something to believe in and they're doing it in a way that doesn't hurt other people, I don't want to rip that from them. Right. That's fine. And I don't care.
That's the thing.
If I think it's stupid, it doesn't matter. They're living a life and it's happy. And let people have their fucking things.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's all that I have ever asked, you know, since I sort of came into this new like idea of how I'm going to approach life. It's, you know, I use my family as an example. Like they want to say blessings before every meal. I don't stop them from that. In fact, I will go as far as I'll hold their hands. I'll be quiet and respectful. Like I'm not about to like sit here and make a scene. And I know some atheists who will do that.
I know some, and I'm not.
And I'm not that person. Yeah. But the thing that makes me really sad is that I have family members who think I am that person, that even just by not wanting to lead a prayer anymore, because that used to be me. I was the prayer leader.
Thing. And then now not wanting to lead the prayer is different than, hey, y'all pray and I'll be respectful and participate with it.
Absolutely.
That's a line I wouldn't cross.
Another line
and
that
I'm
I
good
find
at praying. Like I can spit out the words and make it sound like I love me some Jesus.
Right.
But that would be disingenuous.
It just got to a point where it's like, why am I? Yeah. Right. The other thing I struggle with, and I don't have kids. We've been over this on previous episodes, but I have a niece, and I have family members raising my niece that believe this way. One thing that I do sort of like stop short of questioning, I want to question it, but I don't know how to do it without coming off as like that asshole, is like, how do we stop perpetuating this cycle of forcing our dogma and our ways on the next generation? How do we get it to the point where they're allowed to choose? Like you have to be a parent at some point, and you know, obviously the parents' beliefs and values are going to imprint on that person, but is that fair? And I sometimes struggle with that.
I don't think it is fair. I think that's something that is inherent to the nature of religion. When you're in the religion, that is your job I mean, the Bible says raise up your children in the way that she should go. It tells you to indoctrinate your children as part of the religion. Like, and this is something like when me and my daughter are having pretty intense conversations about these matters, and I'll just be like, why are you like this? You know, she's like, you raised me to be this way.
That was going to be my question for you.
I raised my daughters to be
That's
Christians.
My question to you is there a disconnect with you knowing that like you sort of were responsible for putting this on them, and now you sort of...
I mean, not me alone. Their mother was but there, and it wasn't until I got outside of the religion that I was able to do what you were talking about in terms of step back and let my kids be who they are.
Right. Is there a disconnect when
you're inside the religion? I don't know many religious parents who are, and different people do it to different degrees, but they will at least try. To make sure their kids believe what they believe. It doesn't always work, and usually when it does, I know some people. I won't even say any names here, but you know them too. Who they are believers and their children are not, and they let it crush them. I don't like that part of the dynamic. I don't like that part of the dynamic with me and my daughter. Because I'm okay talking about what she believes. It's a little more. It feels a little more important to her because from her perspective, daddy's going to hell.
That's it.
I don't like that part of it. You know, and I'm not saying she's saying daddy's going to hell in a judgmental way. According to her belief system, Daddy's going to hell.
Yeah.
And that's the only part that causes any friction with us. I can talk to her about what she believes and not feel the need to tear that away from her, because I don't think anything bad's going to happen because of what she believes or doesn't believe.
Right.
I don't like the dynamic, especially with her being, I don't think daughters should have to worry about their fathers.
Right.
I don't think children should have to worry about their parents in that way. And the whole belief system is set up that way.
I can echo that sentiment from a friendship standpoint, because I had these discussions at length with a friend who was just so concerned with like re-saving my soul after I sort of fell out of the faith. And his whole thing was, I don't know how I can continue to be friends with you the way we have been and not worry about your soul with the afterlife and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, but don't though.
I've got an answer for that. And this came out of a specific discussion with my oldest daughter. And this is for anybody, whether you're worried about this motherfucker's soul or my soul or whatever. If you're a believer of some sort, and you're going to have friends, people in your life, family members maybe who aren't. This whole thing started with something. My oldest daughter was talking to me about her anxiety. She has a lot of anxiety issues, things of that nature that I have, that a lot of fucking people have. And she was talking about something she was anxious about. And she said, and I turned that over to the Lord. I can't do nothing about it. I turned it over to him. Anybody religious understands the terminology here, what we're talking about here. And she was like, I turned that over to the Lord, and it didn't bother me anymore. I was okay. And I was like, that, and just was kind of remembering several conversations we've had prior to that. And I was like, that's what you have to do with,
in accordance with your beliefs,
with your worry about my soul. You have to turn that. I don't want her. You don't want your friends carrying around the weight of your soul.
100%. No.
You turn that over to your God. If he is
merciful,
what
and
you
loving.
think he is, it's gonna be okay. That comes. I mean, the whole thing, the whole religion's based on faith. This is the part where it gets tested. Turn that over to your God, and we'll see what happens. But don't be worrying about me.
There was a video not that long ago, maybe it was sometime in 2018. It was a video of Pope Francis, who is somebody that I don't agree with everything he does, but he's one of my top 5 people that I respect and admire in the world because of the progressiveness of his beliefs. But there was a video of a kid that came up to him, and they translated. The kid said, "I'm worried. My dad just passed away from cancer, and he was an atheist, but he always raised us, to follow our beliefs and stick to those. Is he in hell?" And the Pope just directly said to the kid, if your dad loved you and set a good example in life and was a good person, then I don't believe he's condemned or damned. And I believe that Francis believes that. And so just for him to offer that kind of comfort, to hear that coming from what
the Pope,
a huge amount of people believe is the top religious person in the world, to say that just was earth shattering. And I wish some Christians could sort of come to that mindset of, if we serve a loving God who forgives and who sees the heart of people, then there's obviously these things are going to be weighed, and it's not an on or off switch.
And the thing about that is the whole religion's based on grace.
Yes.
If the Western church is serious about caring about souls, they need to start showing people grace.
Absolutely.
I've had to say this to a lot of people. As Christians, what if you're right? What if I really am going to die and burn in hell? Right now, the main thing still, I had my personal experience, it was kind of a me and God thing. Also from outside of it now, I don't see anything appealing in the church. There's nothing I need there. The last time someone invited me to church, 5 minutes later, they said the N-word. If I have to be associated with certain kinds of hatred for people in order to be in the club, then bring on hell. So what if you're right? What if Dustin and Jeff are going to hell and you don't know how to show us love? You don't know how to show us grace. The point of the fucking book is grace. That's the point. if you don't know how to show people that, and this is something me and my daughter talk about, because I've told her, I was like, I will support you until you come home and you hate gay people, or you hate this, or
you
hate
try to
that.
hurt people with your
I was
beliefs.
like, and then we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible to be a believer and be loved, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, any of the
major religions in the world.
Major theistic religions. It's even regardless of my belief, and I know too many people who are able to believe those things, and it's kind of the dogmas and stuff I don't believe in, but are able to be genuine, loving people.
Yep.
If you can't be that, I'm not saying throw away your beliefs, but shut the fuck up about them.
Right.
Because you're doing more damage than good.
Absolutely.
People are going to hell every day because you don't know how to fucking shut your mouth.
Yeah.
If it really is. If it's true, y'all need to act like you care. Right.
And that's the thing is,
and this is something
like
from inside the church as a Christian. Like, I had sermons on this.
Yeah.
I talk, 2 people die every fucking second.
Yep.
2 people. And if that worldview is correct, there's the road to hell is wide. That's 2 motherfuckers probably going to hell.
Yeah.
It's time to stop worrying about patriotism, for one. Yeah. In the Bible, there's no room for patriotism. You're a citizen of heaven.
That's something that has become part of the package of Christianity.
So I'm really preaching a good fucking sermon here. Yeah. I don't know what kind of show this turned into. But if you're right, and this is coming from someone who right now does not believe, if you're fucking right, please figure out how to show me how. Right. And people like me.
I think that's what I would say as like what I'd like to get across to people is going back to, I think people subscribe to a package that the church has put together, as opposed to the actual beliefs set out by their leaders, like Christ and Muhammad and Buddha. All of they want to buy a package that includes all of these extraneous variables like patriotism and blind nationalism and adherence to politicians that believe the way they do. That's not part of the religious text, but they have ascribed that to their belief system because mom and dad believed all of these things in addition to their faith too. Right. And that's all they know. It all
gets wrapped up together.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. Yeah. So this is a topic we honestly could go on about.
And we'll do
this could be more episodes where we tackle like a specific thing, but I definitely wanted to open this conversation.
Yeah. And I like how a lot of stuff we just kind of scratched the surface. Yeah. And then of course, anytime, and you've got your little spiel about it. Yep. But, any feedback from anybody or follow-up questions, we will make a whole new episode about in the future.
Yeah. And
or address something specifically. So we got a lot of these. We'll just kind of start off and then go wherever the fuck we want.
Yeah. The way that you get in touch with us, if you want to know something about like a specific way that religion affects things, or toxic masculinity affects things, or whatever we talk about, sports ball. Yeah. We had a whole episode about that. So the line is open for you guys, and we cannot stress enough how much we want you to take advantage of that. The number is 209-353-4257 or 209-35-DICKS. So please give us a call. We would love to hear from you. Another way that you can connect with us is on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/onthesubject. Go over there and check us out. We've got all kinds of behind the scenes, between the episodes, videos, and some uncensored stuff we can't put on YouTube, as we always say. So go check that out. Go become a patron. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. You can get the audio podcast too, and all kinds of stuff, polls that we'll put out on what you want to see. And there's like a bonus podcast, which we haven't recorded a bonus podcast yet because we don't have anybody on there, but hopefully we'll get some people on there, and you guys can tell us what you want on those bonus podcasts, because I mean, we'll get raunchy on there. Like,
we can do that.
We're gonna do it. So
you lay down the money, we will give you what you want.
That's right. So, but yeah, thank you guys for joining us. This was a good episode. Good scratching the surface on a new topic. Tell us how you feel about it in the comments. Be sure you subscribe subscribe here on YouTube. That's something that we often forget to say. But subscribe if you're not already.
We're supposed to be doing better.
We're supposed to be doing that.
We're supposed to be begging for subscribers.
We're just so like engrossed in what we're talking about.
Subscribe or don't.
Subscribe or don't.
Somebody will.
I thought you were going to say subscribe or die.
No.
And go to hell.
Oh God.
Your just reward. I don't know. Sometimes you got to keep it light. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us this week, and for staying with us for 2 months and some odd weeks now. We really appreciate it.
Apparently, they haven't kicked us off.
They haven't kicked us off the internet yet.
I don't know what you're so scared of.
I ain't scared. I got some alcohol in me.
If
this
YouTube
time.
don't want us, we'll move to Pornhub.
We doing it. Hey, when Tumblr shut down, Pornhub was like, "Come over here. Well, you can do your artwork over here. It's fine.
We'll give them some artwork.
It is what it is." But yeah, so join us, stay with us, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys
Subscribe,
have a good. Subscribe.
Whatever.
Don't. Whatever. Go to Patreon. Don't. Whatever. But do mainly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. Bye.